seen individuals have shift of character. I've seen individuals have healings of the body, physical body temple, where the prognosis was, this is not going to happen. I've seen individuals come back from tremendous setbacks financially, lose businesses. So I've seen it all across the board. When an individual discovers and participates in their own unfolding that they are one with life, and they have a spiritual self-love and a self-appreciation that's not born from accomplishment, but that's intrinsic to who we are as our spiritual nature, revelation occurs. People are guided and directed through their intuition, through their innate wisdom is activated to do the right thing, to bring about what is necessary for their healing, which is the revelation of wholeness. There's no stone unturned. I remember a woman that was just graduating from my practitioner class, and I asked the class, what did you want the class to hold space for? And she said, I want to be moved up on the kidney transplant list. And I said, well, why don't we try to heal the kidneys that you have? And she said, no, the doctors have said this is a rare disease. They've never seen any healing in this area. I need to be moved up. And she was very resistant to me, to saying, can we just try it? No. So all of a sudden I thought about this story that Alan Watts used to share about his wife. His wife was perpetually late. So he would always lie about the time to get her to come early, but she was always late. So one day he's sitting at Central Park. He asked her to come to lunch, but he said, you have to be on time because I have to go to a meeting. She's late. His mind starts to go crazy. She doesn't respect me, doesn't respect my time. Then he says to himself, my wife respects me, she loves me. She just has a casual relationship to time. While I'm waiting, I'll meditate. So she gave him plenty of opportunity to meditate, okay? So that story came into my mind, so I said to her, her name was Donna, I said, Donna, while we're waiting for the kidney transplant, why don't we see what we can do? And she said, okay. So I gave her this book, and in the book it talked about the healing of kidneys and how metaphysically there's stagnation in your life, blah, 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 blah. So she had to read that every day.
Unresolvedness.
Right. Yeah. And then I said to the class, how many of you today got up and gave thanks that your kidneys worked and you could pee today? And nobody raised their hand. I said, this is your role. Every time you go to the restroom, you're to pray for Donna. We call it the praying while peeing, PP prayer. So 30 days later we meet, they're about to take their oral exams, and Donna can't wait to share. She said her kidneys spontaneously started working. And the doctors wanted to do a slight operation to see why. She refused. Now that was 10 years ago. She is still rolling.
She has her own kidneys.
She has her own kidneys. Everything is fine. But she changed her awareness about it. Mm-hmm. And she had to feel the people that were holding space for her.
Yes.
Her kidneys spontaneously healed. And I've seen that. You know what's funny about that? It's not funny. But about 4 weeks after that, this little boy walks up to me at Agape. He says, my mommy is going to the hospital. She has to have a kidney transplant. And I just said, she's going to be okay. I just waved my hand over her. And her kidneys started working. And she's at Agape, nothing. You know, so I've seen a lot of healings. But I think it was the combination of me and her little son, who were just like, Dr. Beckwith can do anything.
That purity of innocence.
He was so innocent
100%.
and so pure.
You know, epigenetics is teaching us that the vibrational frequency that hits the surface of the cell is picked up by these little antennas.
That's right.
And then they relate information inside the cell, and that's what tells the cell what chemistries to produce or how to function.
Right.
And so when someone makes this declaration that says, hey, I am.
Right.
And I'm going to let this happen for me, or this is going to happen for you, Mom.
Right.
You know, because Reverend Beckwith said it would.
Right. And I got agreement from her.
Allows.
I mean, I got agreement from her too.
Yeah.
I made her look at. I said, "Can we agree with your son that you're going to be okay?"
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
So the mind field changes,
Yes.
and it changes the message that's coming to the surface of the cells, and the cells change the chemistry that they're producing, and the body heals.
There it is.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Right.
Now, you speak about the feedback loop, that this body temple is the perfect feedback loop. Can you share about that, the detail about what that means?
Absolutely. Instead of railing against the body temple, you basically use it as feedback. So if something is going wrong in your perspective, it actually is a message in there. And if you become still and you actually ask, what is it that you're telling me? And in sincerity, listen, not with your ears, but with consciousness. Listen with your entire being. You'll start to get wisdom and guidance as to where you're out of alignment in life. Could be in your conversation, could be in some habits that you have. You'll start to get feedback that that particular dis-ease is giving you. You come back into alignment, and then the dis-ease becomes ease. You come back into harmony, back into homeostasis, back into wholeness. So the body is feedback. What is it saying to you across the board? You need some rest? You need nutrition? You need right exercise? You know, what is it? Is there something missing nutritionally? What is it? You'll get the feedback. And if you follow it, if you obey, then the body temple will come back in a very powerful way. I believe that the body can heal anything. It's a genius.
So do I.
There's no disease big enough to if the person's in alignment.
Yeah. If we're allowing that flow to
Right.
flow, and if we're connecting with that, and when people don't know how to do that, they get a little afraid that they are going to be stuck on their medications. They're going to have to keep doing what they're doing because they don't know what to do instead.
Absolutely.
And so can you speak to where would someone start? How do you begin to know that you're doing something that's going to lead to a healing environment for this body to have the true role in our life that it's really intended to have?
First of all, you have to realize that there are people called minor deities, MDs, that give you diagnosis and prognosis. You cannot allow them to give you a prognosis. They can give you a diagnosis, but the prognosis is between you and you and the presence. And so you have to formulate your own prognosis. You have to actually tell yourself, my body can heal anything, and I am the candidate for the revelation of wholeness. So you have to begin with yourself. Many people get caught up in the whole under the aegis of the medical model, and when a minor deity tells you something, particularly a prognosis, you believe it. And then, as you said, your cells hear that, they believe what you believe, and they start to produce the chemicals according to that belief. So you shift your own prognosis. You actually write out, I'm willing for my body temple to up-level to complete healing and wholeness every single day, getting better every day. You have to enter into it with that kind of vibration. And then you choose a partner that holds you accountable to that. Doesn't let you go into your pity party. Doesn't let you go into a downward spiral of conversation. That can be a spiritual counselor or a real good friend that trusts. You begin to examine, your hydration, your nutrition, your exercise, your rest. You begin to examine that. Where's that offline? But it always begins in the mind.
You're a passionate man, and I have a lot of passion and fire about this exact same topic. And I'm also very aware that we want our viewers to be able to plug into this stream of consciousness that we're speaking about. And so what can you say for someone who doesn't feel the passion, that they can write these goals out for themselves and write their new diagnosis, but they're not feeling it? What role does that play in the outcome that they're looking for? Can you guide someone in that way?
For years I've said, this feeling, the universe is a feeling universe. Feeling provides the context for healing in one's life. So I would say, take your attention and put it on something that brings about a good feeling for you. It doesn't have to be about your healing. It could be about someone you love. It could be a little kid in your life that when you think about this kid, you just feel so much joy, so much happiness. Or you think about someone that gave you a really good gift, not a re-gifting gift, but something that you really loved and appreciated, and you notice how you felt when you received it. Now, when you received that gift, your chemistry changed at that moment. You became grateful, you became thankful. Oh my, you became appreciative. You go back to that moment. I ask people to close their eyes, capture that moment, and then take some breaths and amplify it. Amplify that feeling until you're living in that feeling regardless of whether you're thinking about that person or not. You have the feeling, it's amplified. Now go into your conversation. Now go into your affirmation. Now go into your writing. Even though the feeling has come from something else, it's still operating in your body temple. It's still changing the chemistry of your body. It's still opening up those blood vessels so that oxygen is flowing better, this greater coherence of the brain. Now you're in league with the harmony that you want to have in your body. So you can start off passionless, but you can actually build up the passion in your own life.
What is the role of unforgiveness in that? How does that fit in?
That's a very important question. Where there is unforgiveness, there's stagnation, blockage, and there are thought forms and perceptions. And thoughts are units of mental energy. And they produce that same frequency over and over and over again. So it becomes stagnant, and then it creates perception. So you actually see life that way. And as you see life that way, you actually experience that life that way. You can be standing in the middle of great opportunity and won't even see it because the unforgiveness is blocking. The other thing unforgiveness does is create debt. Because if you are in resentment towards someone or have a level of unforgiveness, the message to the universe is, they stopped me from having something. They are preventing me from having something, or they owe me something. Now, in physical life, somebody might owe you something. We don't discount that. But if you're walking around with that stagnant thought that I can't be happy because they owe me something, then the universe says you have lack. In other words, you're sitting here in lack because that person owes you something. So that spins out as lack in your life. The law says, oh, you don't have something? Let me show you what that looks like.
Right.
You see?
It has no choice but to respond to what we're commanding.
It doesn't care whether you're a good person. You can be the best person in the world. Follow all the laws, pay your taxes, never run a stop sign. You can be a good person, have a good personality. But inside, you believe someone owes you something, or you're lacking something because of that person, then that law operates on that, and you'll end up having debt or lack in your life based on unforgiveness. So to empower yourself, forgiveness is the way. Give forth a harmonious energy.
And can you define forgiveness for our viewers?
On one level, forgiveness is the releasing of toxins, resentment, animosity, grudges that are within us. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Even if you're trying to forgive someone else, they're not really out there. That's a figment of your imagination.
Right.
You see, you're actually releasing the toxins that are within you that you are projecting onto that person. So when you release those toxic thoughts, those units of mental energy, you become free-flowing, and now life can start to express through you again. And what do? You're cutting the emotional cords that you have with that individual. You're saying in substance, what you did or did not do does not determine my destiny. I cut myself free from you. I wish you well, and I'm moving on.
You end up being able to be more present with them, love them, and have a better relationship because you actually cut through the thing that was keeping you from being free to be in the loving presence with them, in relationship.
Absolutely. Now, there are stages in forgiveness. First stage is willingness. You have to be willing to forgive. Most people, I'm going to take this resentment to my grave. No, that resentment is going to take you to your grave.
Take you to your grave. Sooner, probably.
Right. So one is willingness. Number two is actually the practice of forgiveness. That you actually cut the cord, let them know, don't have to be sitting there, in your own awareness that what they did or did not do cannot determine their destiny. I forgive you, I set you free. And then the third stage is actually being willing to see something from their perspective. It's just a willingness. It's like, I wonder how they saw this situation.
Very powerful.
And then you'll start to open up and you say, oh, maybe they didn't think they did such a bad thing, or maybe they thought they were justified, or whatever. But it's like, our Native American brothers and sisters say, walk a mile in another person's moccasins. You actually see something from another point of view. Then the next stage is wish them well, but for real. Not.
Yeah, good luck with that.
No, just really sit
Yes.
and hope that life works out for them in a very beautiful way. And then the next stage, which is difficult for people, is to actually do something for them anonymously. Send them $1 in the mail. Send them a love note.
It's something that opens you.
Opens you. You're releasing energy. So it's not just all in your head.
Yeah.
So if you actually go through those stages of forgiveness, when you hear that person's name, you're not going to contract.
Yeah.
You're actually going to say, I hope they're doing well.
Yeah.